I'm Hanu. I play Snow White. Or I played in Snow White.
Everyone will have regrets in their life, but few have actual wonders. Questions that keep me up at night are, is art still art even if no one sees it? Does anyone ever truly have a perfect day? Why do I have a cigarette? But one matter that has plagued my mind for over 4 years now. What happened to Snow White's poison bite? Who will find the answers? Does anyone even care? Will this video even get over 100 views? There's only one way to find out for sure. Let's start this video from the beginning. Cigarettes are nasty. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Zandriel Grimm, and today we are talking about the disaster that was the ending of Snow White's Poison Bite and 13th. Snow White's Poison Bite is the perfect example of what can happen when a light dies far too soon. When I got into Snow White's Poison Bite, or I was just getting into music. I had a couple of bands already having been introduced to me, stuff like Black Veil Brides, Slipknot, Breaking Benjamin, bands that everybody in the metal or rock community knows. But I wanted something new, something fresh, something that I had never seen before, which granted, since I was still getting into music, I was dumb to think that I had seen it all just yet. But I scrolled through the recommended videos, and I saw Snow White's Poison Bite's newest video, There's a New Creep on the Block. Watching this video blew my mind, because I never thought that I would see such extreme anger, hostility, and just the whole I don't give a fuck attitude from people who, number one, looked pretty much how I felt at that time, and then on top of that weren't your typical, oh my god, he's so sexy, rock stars. I mean, just look at this! And then, ultimately, getting into Snow White's Poison Bite helped me find a lot of other really talented acts. I'll get into that later, but little did I know that I was going to be setting myself up for the ultimate failure when I started wondering when they were going to be releasing new music. How did they get here? When and what happened to make this such a heartbreaking moment for my teenage self? Well, today I am joined by Bobo, the final bassist for Snow White's Poison Bite and the only bassist of 13th, to help answer some of the burning questions that I had about the mysterious disappearance of the Edgy Boys.
Bobo!
Okay, I'm sorry, Hanu, but I had to say it one time. But for my audience, please, let's just be clear, he does not like being referred to as Bobo. In fact, this is actually something that he and I discussed when I was interviewing him. Regardless, it has been amazing talking to the one and only Bobo from Snow White's Poison Bite.
God, I hate that name.
You did. So please, let's be polite and refer to him as Hanu from here on out. But where else to start our search but from the very beginning? Let's go back to the time where Snow White's Poison Bite originally started. Jeremy 13th, actual name Allan Cotterill, started SWIPPB in 2006 with a big group of friends. Originally, it was a 5-piece band with him and another man on vocals. When he was interviewed by Nicole Arnold, he gave some interesting pieces of info.
The band I sing in and write songs for is called Snow White's Poison Bite. The genre would be horrorcore, at least that's what I like to call it. I'm originally from Leicester, England, but I live in Finland at the moment. I came up with the band name, Snow White's Poison Bite, through these lyrics that I wrote in 2006 probably. They went something like, now I've lost my Snow White from her deadly poison bite. So the lyrics never got used, but I got a good band name out of it. I personally write all the music for Snow White's Poison Bite. Most of the songs have got a horror theme to them, and I don't think that's going to change. The next album is going to be pretty much horror themed as well.
Interesting stuff. I agree. Where did it all start? Where did it go? Was there ever truly a Cotton Eye Joe? Snow White's Poison Bites started in Finland in 2006, and they released their first demo in 2008. And from what I can tell, the group spent those 2-ish years just hanging out, being bros, figuring out what they wanted to do, and winning competitions. Yes, in 2008, the band won a competition called Big Boom, where the winning spot of this competition was actually a spot in a relatively well-known festival known as the Hemos Festival, and a couple days of studio time. Now, the actual demo itself that they put out, I can't find it anywhere. Shut up! Now, what I mean by that is that I can't find any high-quality versions of it. The tracks themselves, surprisingly enough, are still on YouTube, but they're very compressed, and it is very obvious that it's a fact and result of these tracks being on YouTube throughout all of its various changes and other modifications that range anywhere from acceptable to dog shit. I am so looking at you removing the dislike feature, putting ads on smaller channels and not paying the creators, and making some creators have to rely on YouTube Shorts, which is an obvious ripoff of TikTok. I'm sorry. I'm ranting. But at least it has dark mode. I have a playlist on my channel of the demo if you guys want to listen to it, but it's most likely stuff you're not particularly interested in because of either the age or the fact that Snow White's Poison Bite never really referenced the demo after its release. So I wouldn't be surprised. I enjoyed them, but I wish they would have done more of them, which again, we'll get into that later. Jeez, I'm putting a lot of foreplay into this. Get on with it! I have no earthly idea where you can find high-quality versions of this demo, if there even is any high-quality version of it left in the world out there somewhere, but this is where it gets interesting. And yes, I'm fully aware of the irony. Nice. Going into 2009, they signed to their first of many different record labels throughout the years, where they bounced around like the gun you use in Saints Row 4. They first signed with Poco Records and EMI Finland. I guess they're two different companies. Yeah, it doesn't matter, they're both dead anyway. But while using these labels, they did release their first and only official EP, Drama Through Your Stereo. This EP, while not perfect, I find to be the epitome of the screamo genre. Nowadays, there are many better screamo bands, sure, absolutely. But in 2009, I genuinely think that Snow White's Poison Bite had a real lead on their hands over any other screamo bands. And yes, Snow White's Poison Bite is most definitely screamo. I'm not just using that as a generic term like all these other people like to use. Because Snow White's Poison Bite is screaming emo music. So the thing about Drama Through Your Stereo is that it was the first official release for Snow White's Poison Bite, whereas a self-titled demo was just that, a demo. With the power that being on a record label gave them, Snow White's Poison Bite was able to get this out with 4 very well-recorded tracks. But the thing that confuses me about this album is, why didn't they put the tracks from the demo on here? There have been plenty of examples of bands throughout history transposing single or EP songs onto a new project. More recent examples being Make Me Famous, Tala, and The Buddy the Bear. But for some reason, Nursery Rhyme is the only track from the demo that made it onto here. Sleeping Beauty was put on here as well, sure, but only as an acoustic version. So Cinderella and Love Lost were abandoned entirely. Can you imagine if they had put Love Lost, So Cinderella, and the original Sleeping Beauty on here? You would have one hell of a mini-album. I don't smoke! Jesus, where the hell do these keep coming from? What is this, Joker 2019, where the cigarettes just appear lit out of nowhere? Jesus, I gotta piss. It's fucking cold out here. I don't really have a whole lot of information when it comes to what happened during this era of Swip, except for the fact that after that album ended, Snow White's Poison Bite suffered its first loss in members. The screamer, Juso, which also happens to be the same name as my favorite Nocturnal Bloodlust song, left the band. So Jeremy took it upon himself to be the singer and screamer for Snow White's Poison Bite, leaving the guitarist role behind. Now, I will say that it is still probable that Jeremy wrote the guitarist parts too, because I remember him saying in interviews that he was the writer of Snow White's Poison Bite as well, but he just left the playing to other members. So moving into 2010, Jesus Christ, that was 12 years ago, they biggity bounced themselves to a new label named The Sounds of Finland. Now, there's something about Hyena tracks on here as well, but I couldn't really find anything on that record label, like anything on it at all, except for a page on rateyourmusic.com. Is it the recording studio? What? Later that year, they did release their most popular album, which was their first full-length album, The Story of Christy Killings, with songs such as The End of Prom Night, which had its own music video on the Brian Starr's YouTube channel, Serial Killer Girl, and my personal favorite one, We All Know the Wedding's Over. Snow White's Poison Bite established themselves, and it seemed like all their hard work was finally paying off. But in reality, this is the beginning of the weird side of what happened to Snow White's Poison Bite. In 2011, everyone left the project except for Jeremy, completely leaving it high and dry and just abandoning it of all of its original members, except for the only original and active member himself, Jeremy 13th. Now, what happened here? Here's what Hanu had to say. When you joined Snow White's Poison Bite in 2011 or 2012, did you have any idea, like, the reason as to why everyone just kind of, like, left Jeremy all at once? Like, the Christy Killings crew, I mean?
Well, there's many different kind of rumors, but that I know for sure that those three guys were like old friends, and I think Jeremy was the newest guy. The bass player had a child during that time. I think the right word is like they try to hold the band, like we don't need to rush or anything, we just can like enjoy the moment and take it easy. And Jeremy was like, fuck this, go hard. But I think all three decided, because well, they were like old friends, to leave the band together, and they didn't like believe in that kind of thing. I don't know why, because the album was pretty damn good anyway, but after that they started a new band. Like, I don't even remember the name, but
the band at this point might as well have been dead. But Jeremy did not give up hope, though. He still worked his butt off and made sure that he could reform the band with completely new members, starring the man of the hour himself, Hanu.
I think I saw Snow White Poison Bite like 2 times before Allan called me, and I was very interested about those. Well, to join anyway to the band, and it came pretty fast. Then we started to figure out the rest of the band. During that time, I think we had new members like in guitar, and we had a new drummer, because those guys who were in the Christy Killings album, they left like all together, I think. But anyway, we started working to Dr. Gruesome album, and it came out, and it was pretty good. I liked it a lot, and we recorded here in Finland.
By 2012, Snow White's Poison Bite had regained a full member lineup, and they signed with the, some would say, infamous Victory Records. Under the Victory Records name, they released the album that I actually found Snow White's Poison Bite from, and that is featuring Dr. Gruesome and the Gruesome Gory Horror Show. This album did very well also, gaining incredibly positive reviews, with songs like Will You Meet Me in the Graveyard, There's a New Creep on the Block, and Zombie Romance, which actually features Michael Graves from the Misfits. What was your favorite song on featuring Dr. Gruesome?
Maybe Zombie Romance.
Oh.
Yeah. There was Michael Graves. Come on, it's like a dream come true. And
Absolutely. This was around the time that I had found Snow White's Poison Bite myself, as I had just said. With their song There's a New Creep on the Block in my recommended feed on YouTube, I fell in love with this sound. And speaking of their sound, this album and their other stuff beforehand, they sound completely different. So it is very possible that Jeremy had different influences during this time while he was writing the music, which is perfectly fine, because featuring Dr. Gruesome is actually my favorite album from Snow White's Poison Bite. Regardless, I was still very new to music at that point, especially heavy metal music. Finding out what I was into, what my level of badassery was at the time. Then, lo and behold, because I was a fan of Snow White's Poison Bite, I actually found many other bands that I still constantly listen to this day. Bands like The Bunny the Bear, Beneath the Sky, as well as many bands that were on the Victory Records label. Seeing the level of anger and aggression that I felt inside of myself at that age, then seeing all these bands being able to get that anger out, and I truly felt as though I was understood. I fell in love with heavy metal. Now granted, websites like these definitely did not help the popularity, and I was incredibly disappointed to see people making this kind of stuff. Regardless of opinions, however, I was still very excited. What was next for these incredible people and their humongous superstar potential and power? I followed them on Facebook, I looked on their Twitter, I subscribed to their YouTube channel even, waiting for a news update, waiting for a new album, but that's all I was doing. Waiting. For nothing. That was it. There were no more updates. They did tours every now and again, and in 2015 I was able to talk to someone named Broda, who was in SWPB at the time, but other than that, the trail went cold. No. What did I miss? What could I have missed? Just cut. Cut.
I think the main problem with Snow White Poison Bite was that we only had like me and Allan who were like really into it. Those rest of the guys who we had like in drums and guitar, they were like friend of us, and they were able to luckily to come on those tours with us, but they didn't like, they had their own projects going on. So again, me and Allan were like without the rest of the band, and I think after the UK tour we were like pretty down because those members were so hard to find.
Die, but then you get revived with the power of necromancy.
But then I got it. Wait. Until 2018, there was no news. But in 2018, Jeremy, or Allan at this point, I might as well just call him Allan at this point, Allan posted on his socials that a big announcement was coming. Then the next week or so, Allan and Hanu both posted and said that they were quitting Snow White's Poison Bite. My heart dropped. 5 years after featuring Dr. Gruesome in the Gruesome Gory Horror Show came out, Snow White's Poison Bite was officially dead. Officially dead. They announced that they were quitting Snow White's Poison Bite and moving on to their new project, 13th.
The thing for the 13 when like after we decided to quit the band Snow White Poison Bite, we were like not in touch couple months, and well, I know that we have few songs which were like pretty sick, recorded in somewhere his laptop, or I don't remember which one of us called to each other, and you know, we were start talking about the new band, and like what if we start a new band, because like members don't have to sign anything. Basically it's easier to join the band which isn't belonging to any record companies, and well, it started like pretty fast. We went together, and well, I recorded the bass for the songs, and it started to seem like fuck yeah, it's gonna be even better than Snow White Poison Bite ever, and
yeah, absolutely.
It was like also good for us to start something own with Jeremy. Well, Allan, He's not Jeremy to me. He's just Allan.
They put a lot of effort, time, and money into this project, especially into the clothing brand that Allan had started, also called 13th. They released a song by the name of Disgusting, which I bought immediately. And then on top of that, I bought some merch. I made a new video on my channel with my co-host Tyler the Armory Wooten, where we were talking about, what we were expecting to see from 13th in the future. Jeremy did interviews. He was super responsive. He was constantly reposting when people bought his merch and were posting about it. And then, once again, that was it. 13th had no more updates, no more music, and no more fire.
We recorded the album almost ready, and well, during that time also we had, of course, to have those moments like where you're really thinking that is this all? Do we still want to like really make a new tours? Or during the 13 album we started to have like at the end, of course, like too much going on, and the focus for the band was like maybe going wrong direction. Allan had things he had to do, and after the Disgusting released, we really discussed about what's we gonna do about the future and the band, and we had to take a break. But some point we realized that okay, now there's no fire anymore, and we like put the thing on hold, and it's been I think 3 years now.
Jeremy's socials were deleted. The only things that remain to this day are the Facebook pages of Snow Ice Poison Bite and 13th, but they never received any further update. Even their single Disgusting isn't available anymore to stream, to buy, nothing. I still have it if anyone is interested. I'll email it to you. Just message me on Instagram and, here's my tag. In fact, I actually want to ask Hanu if it's okay if I post the song on my YouTube channel, since there's nowhere else to get it anymore. But I wish that Snow Ice Poison Bite and 13th hadn't ended in the disastrous way that it did. All that remains now is the song, the CDs, and the memories, and whatever is still in Jeremy's possession.
I can tell you, those songs were so sick. It's so shame that we only released album's easiest song. It doesn't sound like anything too different, but those rest of the songs, damn.
At one point, there was a band that started up that was just called SWPB Band. I found out about this because of someone that I had emailed from my What Happened to 13th video. This band seemed more to want to ride off of the dead fame of Snow Ice Poison Bite, but thankfully they aren't around anymore either. From what I can tell, it looks like they were somewhat in some way related to Down and Dirty, but I'm not sure. But it seems like they gave up hope for that name as well. Don't get me wrong, I still love Snow Ice Poison Bite. I listen to their music pretty regularly, and when I was on hiatus, I was determined to make this particular video the one that I used to come back to YouTube. I did everything that I could to gather some information to make this possible, even so far as finding out what Hanu had changed his name on Instagram to, and took the chance to reach out to him so that I could get his side of the story. And in fact, there are actually some people who've reached out to me and actually shown me messages from them talking to other bandmates. They follow a fairly similar story to what Hanu said. But what happened to Jeremy himself, I feel like, is the biggest question.
And I called few of my friends and asked did they know anything about him. He didn't have a
social life?
Cell phone no, like his cell phone number, so there's no way to find his number or anything on the basic phone data apps or anything like.
Nowadays, at least, Hanu is doing some amazing work. He may not be hunting down his old friend, but the job he has is truly inspiring.
Are you still a professional wrestler, or was that even a thing?
Well, what I do is basically what I've been doing last 10 years. I've been working as a nurse in a mental hospital.
As sad as I am to say it, it does appear as though that this is going to be the last video that I make on Jeremy 13th or Snow White's Poison Bite or anything revolving around that horrorcore genre. I never thought I would truly have to say those words. In 2018, which was only 4 years ago at this point, I was ecstatic that a childhood favorite of mine was finally getting a fresh start, and I was getting a fresh start simultaneously, with my YouTube channel and all. But unless we find him, this is it. Maybe one day he'll decide to come back and make some music. Could this video help? That would be amazing. But in reality, it's all up to Allan if he wants to don the Jeremy mantle one more time.
Of course, I hope that when this video will come out, maybe that could be the way when Allan thinks that, alright, Hanu, bring this shit together again, and
there you go.
And until that day comes, I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this incredibly long and hard worked on video. My name is Zandriel Grimm, and I'll see you all, as well as the potential revival of 13th, later.
So spread the word and tell your friends. The horror crew will be back again.